Professor Ubora on an issue of national importance, which is CBC, competence-based curriculum. He is here to give us a background of how it came about and why it is having challenges in its implementation right now and why it can be constituted. But before that, he will give us a background of who he is, of this institution, and so on and so forth. So, Professor, the microphone is yours.
For this occasion that has been widely publicized, I know because the heading CBC and my background in terms of the origin, the challenges in and what I know, I am sure I should be getting a lot of response, because there are those who are suffering interview come to be, but those are normal things. The most important thing is to know history of where you came from. Then you certainly have no idea where you're going right now and where you shall reach. So it's important for us to trace that. Bora was born here in Kisumu, lived deep in the village in a place where all of us wore no shoe until we got the lack of going to Form 1. It's one of them. My difficult journey during the Moise quarters for a record 3.5 years. The Great High School, University of Nairobi, continued. Many mainly related to researches that I've been able to do and the achievements therein. One of the things that everyone can do, who was in class 3, equivalent to grade 3 today, I moved up to Form 1. Everyone called me fake, bogus, and stupid, because only a mad person can move a young child going. So bad was it that I'd agreed to take back my daughter to class 4 in Visa Osho Primary School from Millennium Academy. Millennium Academy, started by Kanji, was my colleague when we were teaching before in Aga Khan. Took my daughter not because he understood me, but a new private school, a new candidate means new money. One evening, sitting in Nairobi, and having come from the UK with my Z laptop, I noticed that my daughter was doing quadratic equations on the laptop. As a curious parent, I tiptoed and wanted to know how this young girl, just clearing class 3, is able to do quadratic equations done in Form 2 and probably Form 3. As I watched, I noticed the young girl was going to the hint section and learns by the heart. You know, what do you think learning by the brain? And she wanted to play the game of quadratic equations. We've done a lot of research in the past in which we're using multimedia products to enhance the accuracy and development of language, development of algebra, development of science, which were put in DVDs then as multimedia products. So my daughter was using one of these to play science, to play mathematics, to play English. And we put a board on the top like the one for golf. So if you are accurate and you're fast, then you'll probably be on the top of the board. And this young girl wanted to be the top. So she should go to the hip section, try to understand that, learn by heart, and apply the rules of it to be on the top. And it keeps giving you different challenges. As a young graduate who understood curriculum construction and the 2E candidates, 2E means twice exceptional candidates, I knew I had a child who was 2E, meaning has spare learning capacity. The interventions for such children is to accelerate and to differentiate. Acceleration means you skip classes. Differentiation is that you understand the gender domains, meaning the natural wiring of that person for you to give challenging work, matching, learning, and product styles, if you know what I mean. That required me to do a mini assessment, and I found my daughter to have those spare learning capacities. So I was energized to accelerate my daughter, and I looked for a school in Nairobi. I couldn't find any until I found Millennium Academy. Little did I know in this country that it is crime to accelerate a child. So the hula baloo media broke loose on me. But something nice happened out of all that. While they fought me about my daughter, and we had agreed that she's going to go back, at the end of that term, out of a class of the first one, as long as number 12 to 23 are also going back, irrespective of the age, better. And that's how I want the case. Long story short, my daughter did IGCSE, scale up the ladders very early. It's a stories. The British Nigerian born at the British Open University, who qualified doing electrical engineering, 9-year-old. Kenyans were busy bashing me. Lack of knowledge. They didn't understand. One evening, I received an email from World Talent Federation headquarters. They were having in Vancouver, in Canada. They invited me, paid up everything, and I made a case for Africa. At the time, the branch African Talent Federation was created. I was named the president. I'm still the president of the federation up to today. And they came here to Kenya, in Nairobi. Chief guest was Raila Odinga, then Prime Minister, 2012. Sent Musalia Mudavadi, who was. This is when the idea and the connection to make sure that in Africa too, we don't get children learning just for the sake of it. That it is to know that diagnosis is a key ingredient to the learning process. That I cannot take my child to school just like without prior diagnosis about what my child can learn and what my child will never learn. That is essential. It's like saying, I cannot walk over to a hospital and assume that I can get medication just like everybody else. Or just walk over the counter of a pharmacy and just get any medication. Let me tell you, if you walk to a real hospital, they won't do that. They will do a diagnosis and confirm your sickness before writing a prescription and a management. Now that kind of arrangement is what we do expect in the current and modern learning systems. And a lot of research has been going on because many people have suffered because they were either not diagnosed or were misdiagnosed. Many others are suffering in drugs, are suffering in alcoholism, are suffering in wrong pursuits in life. In Kenya, you find the most intelligent people in committing maximum prison. And they use the most primitive form to steal your money via M-Pesa, and you're out there. It tells us we have the graveyards of gifted people in the prisons in our countries. Preparing with this and meeting new friends, we embarked on a long journey to make sure that we actualize this. So one of the things I did well was every letter had a meaning. D for digital, we use technology. Advisory was to make sure that before you join our programs, University of Cambridge international examinations. And we worked very diligently, changing the landscape of blood and ruffling the status quo, because I was on television every Tuesday on KTN talking about that it's possible to join a degree program even if you have low grades or no grades at all. And nobody understood me then. They thought I was stupid and bogus. How can somebody join a learning system with a no grade or with low grades? But as we go along into this interview, you learn how right I was. That was more than 3 years ago in this country. Moment, we said that it is possible to get a diploma and a degree without writing an examination. You can imagine those things I was saying on television those days, and nobody understood it is possible. Today, in the Republic of Kenya, people are saying that it is wrong to push children to write exams. Today, people are talking about recognition of prior learning that they accused me to be bogus about. What a turnaround. That's a truth. Nobody can deny in the Republic of Kenya. I was there alone, and they called me names at that time. And Kenyans are very good at plagiarism. So we kept talking with Mzee Professor Diagnostic, who was my friend. I admired his work at Moi University. By the time he came to Technical University, he was still my friend. I visited him very many times on Red Hill. Best meals we used to have. Those who know Mayfair on Parkley, Westlands, they used to have very nice grilled onions on Thursdays and Tuesdays. Those were our best days with that Mzee. And Mzee visited me here, and you have a treat here called Professor Diagnostic. And all the neighbors used to know him. He used to say, as I was building here, and say that he wants to sit under that big tree. And that tree should not be cut, and the one next. And we've spared the 2 trees, even when we do constructions. It is that Mzee that would finally be picked up by President Kibaki in his first term to align the education of Kenya with the new constitution. And known to many, it is this report that inspired many who erroneously thought that we intended from the architectural design to change the syllabus and curriculum of Kenya. I did have a problem with many of the proposals those guys had, because the original work we had and the consultations we had And we're very big. We had big people who went to Kenyatta University, met to live Uganda there, Rachel Kangete. We got many people that we dealt in those days. And our main objective was very simple. As we align the curriculum of the Republic of Kenya with the new constitution, we need to infuse quality matrices in the learning system. Nothing was on the table to change 844. There was absolutely nothing called CBC in the very beginning. These were things that came much later when some people thought that you can teach competence and that the word competence sounded good and would align with the public. So they picked up the slogans. Ukiona mtoto hapendi damu anasirai tu na bado unamkaza tu afanye medicine. That was Uhuru Kenyatta speaking. So they picked this slogan. This slogan used to speak on KTN. And you should go and check the libraries at KTN. The class program every Tuesday for a long period of time. Go look at my slogans. So they picked the slogans and they sounded very good. When we kept saying that Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard and became the world's richest man those days, those are very nice slogans. But they were just slogans and very good examples to use to make people understand that we need to change our perspective to the learning system in the Republic of Kenya. And these were very nice things to talk about. But then our people forget one very important aspect of doing things: the method and the tools. If you asked today the Minister for Education, the previous Minister for Education, and other previous ones during this CBC, simple question: can you teach competence? They'll scratch their heads. What is competence and what is talent? They'll never tell you the difference. They think it's the same. If you push them to the corner and ask them, you are undertaking a competence-based curriculum, competence-based learning. How do you know the competence of a 6, 7-year-old child? Which method or tool are you using to know that? Just like if you went to a hospital, you have to have a method and tool to diagnose sickness before you prescribe. What tool or method is the Republic of Kenya using to do that? And now understand the architecture. In the original architecture, we said before any learner is put into any learning system, we must do an assessment and diagnose the learning metrics. Underline the word metrics. The metrics have got two main things: the learning domiciles and the talent rival skills. Anybody who has understood human metrics and creation and the ability for human to have dominant values and subordinate values and the cross link between the two, which we see as the emotional quotient values. For example, learning styles, product styles, ability styles, which we don't talk about in our common learning systems. Then you can understand why the CBC has run into problems. Because you built a hospital, and after building the hospital by a stolen architectural plan, you do not know where to put what and who to do what. And worse in it, there are no diagnostic winners. So kila mtu kila dawa, kila mtu kila shindani. So I'm not surprised in the Republic of Kenya to see teachers in the very onset asking for chicken and eggs because their imagination in this is home science. They never got it. It is only in this country that I have seen, embarrassingly, that we implemented a learning a curriculum without teachers being involved, so they were to be trained after. It is not therefore surprising to hear that they are fighting to date, many years on, where to place junior secondary school. And still the media, because they don't have the insight of knowledge, focuses on where should we place JSS. This is not the thing to discuss. You don't disrupt a learning system to start thinking of where to put what. That can't be a debate. That can't be a topic. You did need to disrupt things to create problems, and then you start thinking how to solve a problem which you have no idea about. That's cheap and naive from a country perspective. But in the midst of all of this, we have learners at a young age. Then we'll say later on, this system has produced half-baked. We are witnessing the destruction of young people right under our noses. And we are not willing to question that. We rather question other things, but we don't question the destruction of young people. May I tell you, that whole thing started as a problem. It went into a crisis. And the only thing we can wait for as a country is a catastrophe. And this is the reason why I have accepted today to take part in this interview.
Okay. Wow, quite the introduction. So, you mentioned diagnostic systems that are supposed to be there embedded into the learning systems, and which are missing in the current CBC. What diagnostic systems did you have in mind for identifying the abilities of learners?
Efforts mainly associated with psychology have been there for a very long time and increased in the 40s. And that was after World War I and World War II, because people went to war and never went to school. And by the time they came back, they could not sit in class with children the age of their own children. In the Americans, they call it the learning of the veterans. And many institutions came up with many solutions. During early diagnosis, and many of who have done psychology will understand this, they used to use what I call psychosheets. People who've done psychology, they know that. The understanding of the left brain, the right brain, and the subordinate values of the upper and the lower limbics. And in the whole process, we used to use manual processes in which we would fire you questions and record the responses and gather the percentage responses and compare with the limbic areas of your brain. That was good enough, but that was not very strong. Then the research went into what is known as anthropology. Anthropology is the science of human measurements, and it's now a course done even in many of the universities in Kenya. But again, there were limitations with equipment to measure those. So we brought in anthropometrics. Anthropometry is a branch of science that purely deals with human metrics, especially on human measurement. It is the combination of anthropology and the metrics. In the modern day science, and with the improvement of camera technology, right now we are exiting the 3D optical sensing technology into the 4D, and probably when we get into the 5D, we shall get more than we thought. They are all science that has enabled us even to know the gender of unknown babies. Now it's with us. And with the development of AI and big data, we are able to now do machine learning. Anybody who understands that? For me, I'm fortunate I don't do IT and all this. So I understand. And so, the all anthropometry with biometrics in the modern world combined have produced for us what we never knew. A 3D optical sensing camera, if it takes you a photo, it is able to identify your signal coordinates, or what we call the quantum areas in your body. And it's able to give us your imaginary signal sequence. Any psychologist having that information is able to tell your lipid psych value, which means we are able to know whether your left brain, right brain, upper or lower, and each corresponding value of those areas correspond to careers. And if you look at that very quickly, it means that with a child who is about 4, 5, 6 years old, and for which we have established communication paths between the body and the brain, and for people who do not understand what is child development, it means establishment of communication paths between the body and the brain. That's what we call child development. Children can't walk, can't speak until about 3, 4 years because communication paths are not enhanced until about that age. There are things that do occur, that do affect food cravings, prolonged labor, creating signal shift and shafts, creating weak or strong energy values in quantum areas. And those things there end up with what we call autism, cerebral palsy. All these are signals shifted in a human. Therefore, you have a weak vocal cord, so speech therapy and those kind of things. Now, with this understanding, we are able now, in the modern day, to extract human metric values. And if you have extracted human values, and you got the big data technology, AI, and forecasting models, then you can see how it is easy today to predict the career of a 4 or 5-year-old child. Now, that again I need to qualify, because what's the meaning of a career in Kenya? If you talk to Kenyans, they are going to tell you very basic statements. Hakuna mashini, ukiingia ndani, anakuangalia kama wewe ni engineer. We don't have anything close to that. Haitakwambia wewe ni engineer. Itakwambia mimi no. Your definition of career is not mine. My definition of career is your strong values, strong metric values. Talent is not music. Talent is not sport. Talent is not comedy. Talent is your unique metric values and the ones which are dominant, which you call your strength, and they are subordinate ones. And it is out of those metric values that we should find what you can do best. And so when we want to do what is best, we find you're good with working with tools, working with hands. So we align you to engineering. The engineering is an opportunity to enhance the metric values. So engineering cannot be the career You have your dominant values, and these are exhibited opportunities. So that we are not talking the same things here. They are not the same. And so, if you fit somebody with one thing, you might not find the person because you don't know the subordinate values.
So basically you get an array of options
Yes.
that the child or the learner can engage in
Yes.
once they've undergone their education process.
Right.
Okay, fine. Is this also possible for adults?
Adults were once children, and there's one thing that never changes, your metric values. The one we call, metric values is what we call talent, and the talent, dominant values, is what will form your talent. So you find somebody who was naturally born a musician, but because during the old days, or a dancer, or a comedian, those days, which parent would allow you to go and do comedy at the expense of your studies? You are expected to pass mathematics, which was compulsory, and you couldn't just make it. So many of them shipped themselves out of the learning system rudely, or were shipped out again rudely by the systems. Some of them went into oblivion and lost. You find them talking big things in drinking dens. They wish many things, but there are few that didn't give up. You find one went to the coast region, worked in a clearing and forwarding company, learned how it is done. He was only making tea for the rest, shortly becoming a supervisor, and the loyalty of the owner of the clearing company. When the old Mzee goes back to Yemeni, gives him part of his shares, but because he has his natural strengths, known as talent, he uses his God-given potentials that are mentioned to get a bank loan and buy off even the graduate, yet him is a class 2 here, a class 6 dropout. So now he owns one of the biggest clearing and forwarding companies with a branch in Dubai and New York. He's a Kenyan, a class 6 dropout. So big is his clearing and forwarding company, Fred, that our public university trusts their master's degree students to go and do internship in this organization. And they must sign that they are practically competent enough to graduate. He's a class 6 dropout 32 years ago. One day, noting also that he's chairman of PTA of many schools, he's respected. He has money. So he thinks, I even chair the board meetings and give directions even to graduates from the universities. I'm their boss. So this university should give me a degree. So he walks over to that university. And the university tells him, bring your papers. Of course he doesn't have papers. So how do we admit you? I'm a class 6 dropout 32 years ago. You are not qualified. Now Hannah, you brought your master's degrees to an unqualified person. He signs that they are competent before they graduate. But when he comes to university, he's not qualified. Who is fooling who here? Now when you have a problem in our learning systems, and these are some of the technical things that we talked about. And again, the diagnosis becomes very important here. A person who dropped out of class 6 32 years ago and has built his company with branch in Dubai and New York, can you still look at him in the preview of where is your results? You must be joking. You don't know his value. So how do you know his value? Then again, diagnosis. What's the value of this person? Again, we find his metric values, which we convert, the AI system can be able to convert into credit values. So if it was Fredo Muller who was doing this, it will find what are your credit values. Under international framework, 80 credits give you a credit diploma. and 150 credits gives you a bachelor's degree. If you evaluated such a person and you got 120 credits based on his life achievements, natural abilities, work experiences, which he has gained through short courses, traveling, exposure, many things, which is a lot more learning because there's more learning outdoor than indoors. You find 120 credits. It's way ahead of many people. In fact, it's only 30 credits away to a bachelor's degree. So we give him a project, a task, a talent GINA, we call it GINA task. Talent metric values are measured in a unit called GINA. And people we've done this with, get a number of things. One, we find them able, because of their natural creative potential, to even start another enterprise, which will employ a bit more. More importantly, he is able to improve his current business, noting he's going to work with other supervisors. Additional credits from this project, say the additional 30. Hence the process of international credit transfer that now use this, you see on the internet. And that is what gave birth to recognition of prior learning. And that is what I need everyone to understand.
Okay.
With the person I've described from Mombasa, who we invited for governor and was once an MP, and already judged him for not speaking good English. Yet Chinese don't speak the same English as our Chinese. This is our understanding. Our people judge people by good English.
Okay.
Now, that setup cannot just be done, friend. And I've seen on television senior government officials casually talk about recognition of prior learning. The basic recognition of prior learning, which was very subjective, umefanya nini so we can take you there, is gone. Things are science now. We use a tool known as matric, not matrix. Yeah, mathematics, matric, W-I-C,
What does that mean?
which is a special tool that can unearth for an adult and do reverse engineering. You are a 56-year-old, it can bring your potentials and see you as though you are 8 to 10 years. Meaning, we can tell, should we have formed you when you were young, this is what you would have been, and that's very crucial. Because you are established, you've done so many things, and you earn money, and you want to diversify. Where do you put your money next? You don't, what is naturally you have higher chances of success. And that has helped a number of adults that were established. One, they got their degrees faster and quicker because they got higher credits, got exemptions, and university absorbed their credits and gave them one project in a matter of less than 6 months. And they, by the way, friend, I was accused long time ago. I was looking for shortcuts for degrees for people. How can somebody get a degree in less than a year, yet the person doesn't even have the grades? Now see the reason. Because if we evaluate you, we write what is called experiential report. We don't need your grades to be admitted. We now use the experiential report because it carries your value. And this is understood by a number of universities. Top Ivy Leagues, Laureate, and those under UNESCO. Many, we work with them. And these are some of the problems we've had in this country, because a good thing with a good architecture is taken casually. I've seen politicians say recognition of prior learning, unafanya ukarabati kidogo kidogo hivi, then unapata master. Ukarabati gani? How? What mtu anaimagine, you go to Kariako, you find a Juakani person who has learned one thing by heart, and you think that thing alone can make the guy get a degree. You must be dreaming. You need to understand the whole human. Because if you change something small, the guy start, you can take somebody to Germany for doing one thing, And when technology, a little change, the guy is lost. Then he's being deported back. We got to think big and wide. RPL is not RPL that we're talking here 40 years back. That is obsolete. It's done. We use modern technology to understand the human. It's no longer, I see those people going, I don't know, to retreats to say we're going to get assessor. Hang on, how do you get assessor? What is he assessing? On which tool and method is the person using? Does that extract the human value? If it's not, you're wasting your time. And these are things that I need to tell our people, that architectural framework is very important in everything we do. Just like, don't just build it, must have a design.
So,
and the design is done by an expert.
okay. So what's the solution? How do we salvage CBC if it is salvageable?
I don't think there's anything to salvage, not that there's a problem, because whatever is called CBC is not CBC. The truth, Fred, is all teachers are teaching like 844. Is that a lie? Because they don't know what they're doing. A teacher was trained to teach, and there's a good value in that. What was wrong with 844? What is wrong with academics? Academics are very vital, very important, and it has its position. Only that, what I'm going to learn, is it aligned with me? And with if I am not academically aligned, do I have an option? These were the things we're discussing in the architectural framework. They didn't do that. I was in Eldoret, and we're launching at Serikwa one of the anthropobiometric kits. It was about 2 years ago. And we met this young man that the mother claimed had problem, difficulties in eating. She had some technologies coming to Eldoret. She had been to doctors. Conclusions were that the child has attitude problems. This is what the mother said. And I think I honestly bought into that, because I also thought it's the same. Till the mother insisted and followed us the fulfillment into what we call oral screening and psycho screening. We found that there was prolonged labor coupled with bad food cravings. We do change signal paths in the way I told you what child development means. The sleep jungle is that the shifts which are strong enough to shift signals to audio-signal. So this particular case was shifted to the taste buds, creating high-value taste buds on the tongue. And that's why he's sensitive to this natural occurrences. Long story short, today the young man is a coffee, wine, beer taster. Now listen to me. I remember at Guadalupe, in Adams Arcade, the late Magor, who was the minister, came in, and I tried to engage him, and he dismissed. Fred, in the framework of our education system and our academics, which syllabus or curriculum will be forgotten? Only form 2% of the world population. They are prior resources. In about 15 minutes, they have identified the group. Remember, you can't make bulk until the people with special taste buds confirm the group. Otherwise, you make a waste. And they pay their millions in minutes. That's how the person learns. I have dealt with a number of people in this country, and I might need to highlight, because whatever I'm talking has it worked for people, maybe. That's for just one of them.
Okay.
Let me highlight for you a number of others.
Please be one, please. Time is...
Thank you. Quick one. There's one who was born without enough growth hormones, perfume wine. Parents sell everything to make the child grow, only to come back to Kenya to show and did not remember to come back. Heard about me, and with the assessment, anyone in the dark system, can remember Godfrey why the young man was traveling from Nairobi West to Westlands. Today, he's independent and he's a musician and he's big on the internet. I don't think, Fred, even during your time, during KTN, you remember Matthew Karu. And we say real things, real people. These are people who dealt with, who had a cerebral palsy. And people thought he could not. Today, as we speak, and then we have them on the YouTube channel, we're talking, the parents, everybody. And we sent him to Communication Authority of Kenya for internship. He succeeded. He got his bachelor's degree. Out of his work, and because I said he had the potentials, and when everybody doubted me then, Communication Authority of Kenya, and I'm saying loudly, masters with us again through an international university, and I worked hard on that. Matthew completed his masters. His degrees were taken to Commission for University Education at Communication Authority of Kenya. What would you do with those? This is Kenya. And many others. Last year, a young man came with a man to my office after IGCSE. The boy is in football. And you can see they're enraged, they're in serious disagreement. But the boy has insisted. He has seen this thing on the internet. Mother also have seen, so they've agreed. I'm the referee. So they come, book appointment. We go to the anthropobiometric assessment. We are find high metrics, which actually was more for rugby than even football. But right now, after the assessment, the young man is at Manchester Academy in England. This is the story carried by KTN News last year in October. And the mother talks, said everything. The things we do and the results are a lot of science and do a lot of pep talk. But if it's not working for the people, it is hogwash. It's not. So, in our YouTube channel, the Talent Television, many people have benefited out of the work that we've been able to do. This I'm only doing to outline to our people in my that there is something we ought to have done. We ignored because of either our long-standing traditions of how we do things. But I know at the end of the day, we always say, 50 years ago, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Singapore were at the same level like Kenya. But now you see they're 100 times ahead of while they were ready to try new avenues, you are sitting in your traditions. So you left them. If you're a parent and you've listened to me tonight, and you know you're your child who is one, there's one we don't deal with. A child, the ones with challenges, I know it's the most difficult. If I can deal with those, I can deal with any. They are bound, and this occurs. I see parents take children to universities, and one brought the daughter. And I found the daughter doing karaoke in clubs in Nairobi. She is registered for engineering. She has missed a number of exams. She's been discontinued. I'm just highlighting what everyone knows.
So, very briefly, and to conclude, maybe you can describe your institutions. It used to be dark, now I'm seeing Gates Africa Training Centers and so on. How many faculties, locations do you have, and so forth and so on. And then maybe you can do some Q&A. I've seen people have a lot of questions online.
Yeah.
But first of all, just briefly, describe your institution, how you work, courses you offer, are you licensed by QUER, by the ministry, and so on and so forth.
All right, let's start. Okay, DALC was the first institution I started, and I struggled in those days to make people understand what I'm speaking today. It was very difficult. And over time, and particularly disagreements, and being naive, because I was very young, I started that when I was only 29. And within 5 years, we flourished into 14 branches, which grew over to 19 and became the jealousy of many, because they thought it was normal college doing normal things. But then, one of the mistakes I must admit I did was to sign up a number of people into the dark bank accounts, because I knew I was traveling quite a lot. So, you know, in a normal business, you say up to this amount they cannot sign, but below this they can sign. So corruption entered the system. These people were influencing students to pay in the smaller accounts where they could access. Before I knew it, and because of strong disagreement, to kick people out, a number of intrigues in there, and people being people. And I used to ask them, if you were my student and you have studied and done your work, why would somebody convince you that is going to make for you, of all the things, a Cambridge certificate? Then some of them were not even very clever. You know, under the programs with Cambridge, they were certificates and diplomas. There's no degree. I have had people come to me with a letterhead having a degree done. Even our license didn't have. This was very clear. You complete a diploma, then based on how you perform, you do credit transfer. And I can tell you throughout all the time, that was Candice and the one for Okomaka, the young girl. Only two of them, Candice Scholar and this other one. So I know that very vividly. University of Nairobi, they disturb them the same way. They take this document. And then when they are caught, they don't want to say the people where they went to fake them. I'd say, I had a trick. If you got a genuine document from me, I used to give a document to say this stamp and my signature. When I ask them for that, they disappear. This is the nature of Kenyans. But you're asking, yes, that was licensed long ago. Saitoti, the professor was the then minister. We have the licenses here. I can show you if you have time. And the mayor got that. If you like, I can show you. Yeah, I could probably show any student who did their work well would probably get this. Because I saw those other comments you're talking about. Because people can yap on the internet without facts.
So what was the transition from dark to Gates?
Okay, out of the fighting for the name dark, because it became a legal issue, because I signed them. So we were stuck. So I thought, in the interest of the students and the parents, do they remain stuck? Still, there are a number of universities, a number of international institutions that wanted to work with me. This occurred when I became the Secretary General of the World Trade Federation that was going to the US. And then they broke in all this. So I said, okay, what do I do? And that's when we initiated the one Gates. I know some people are saying Bill Gates. No, it has nothing to do with that. The G, the A, the T, the E, the S, just like that. Each letter has a meaning. But casual people fishing in the internet, they start calling it Bill Gates. Very laughable.
Okay, so what does it mean?
No, they let us do more research.
Okay.
Laughable.
So-
But it's not Bill Gates. But anyway, I wanted to show you one of my students who did very well and got a genuine document from us. This is University of Cambridge International Examination. You'll find this kind of document. This is Catherine. One, digital advisor that says you get document. Yeah, from the institution, and these were licensed both by the Ministry of Education and later it was not Q, it was called CHEC, Commission for Higher Noise. You go to government offices, you are told we can do nothing because it's a licensed institution and they're duly authorized to do that. But you see, authorized Kenyans have attitude. Sometimes, somebody says, I paid for it. You don't pay fees and get certificates, do you?
Study.
There's a due process. You study and you must pass. So our case was a project, and like this lady, she did her projects. I can show you even how Cambridge marked her project. It's a case study, and you can see here the institution gave big. This was a thorough program. You see here KE 602. This is a license number to work with Cambridge. This is the student. This is a Kenyan. And then we have the module title we got here, and then the date is the comments here from Cambridge. You can see University of Cambridge National Examinations there. It's all written there. People did their real work.
Okay.
And then we have some people who didn't do their real work, took a shortcut. That document where you got it from. Let's compare.
Okay. So what faculties do you?
We got a lot of schools that we now. Well, we were recently, and I hope both gentlemen can show, we in this building, we have a bigger capacity, and we're told by TVET that they can give us even more products because we have a lot of land that we're still expanding. We have 30 courses covering the following schools and faculties: School of Beauty and Human Therapy, School of Hospitality and Culinary Arts, School of Medical and Applied Sciences, School of Engineering, Construction and Building, School of Journalism and Mass Media, all licensed by government. We have School of many, like I think there are about 14 schools we run here. The School of Education, Future Studies, Psychology. We got many schools. You can check on our website, gatesafrica.org. We got very many schools there, and we partner with our local. You can see more here. This is Management University of Africa. That's partners with us in the School of Business, Innovation and Entrepreneurship. You hear those words. Not this old business management. Abana, that one we don't offer. We offer business innovation and entrepreneurship. We don't want to qualify here and you hang around. I'm a graduate. I'm a graduate of what? Business management. And you have no business. Which business are you? You can't tell. No. You cannot graduate in this institution. And I graduate you. And you say you are a graduate of business, and I don't see even a business startup, you're joking. In all schools and faculties, we are a talent-based institution. It is not, you can even get 100% in theory, but if I cannot see the invention or the improvement of what is existing, you can graduate. Sorry. Here is a talent-based learning institution. Even a 10-year-old can get a degree here. Trust me, Fred. As long as the metric values show. We got them. If you are an adult and you are a dropout, and you have a business acumen, will allow you. If you are a medic, and the other day I met morticians, people who have done a lot of work with 30, 40 years. He has done the work so well, and even the ones who graduated go to rely on them. In Cliffy, I was. And they're being told, since you don't have papers, they're going to sack you. How? What does that knowledge do? And some of the things I'm talking about, evaluating informatic, the morticians, and we give them credits and they get their documentation because they have the knowledge. These are some of the things we do different from many of these other institutions.
Okay. Any parting shots? We've now covered an hour.
Yes, I have seen, when we promoted this to talk about CBC and those people are gagging because they don't want this information to go out. That's their business. And then people who like commenting anonymous. Internet gives you the bracket to hide and make anonymous statement for things which are meaningful. So somebody asking that I messed up people during my dark day. What mess?
You don't have no cases. No
If
reports.
you did your work, why is this one? She's working in the UN. Why does she not have a problem? And I have another one, and I have others and others. I will give you more than 5,000. Why those? Why only you? You have a problem. And then you say generally, many are my friends, and you want to mess other children. Hang on. Who was messed and how? If you mess people, you can have them. I saw when we disagreed, people were creating blog spots to disparage my name, to say I'm fake, that is fake. Let me tell you, I have no energy. Number one, you have a right. You know where I am. This is my building. This is my building. I built this place. I bought this land. It's all the way, almost 30 acres. I'm building this one. Going to be the first talent university in Africa. I am here. Why don't you bring the documents and tell me if something was wrong? The reason why they don't is because they know they cheated. Two, if something went wrong for you, and in that magnitude, in this Republic of Kenya, you've seen it happen in other colleges. You go to police, you take me to court. Why are you acting in the internet? Why are you acting in media? No. I have never, ever been to any police station because my institution. I have never appeared. Show me any evidence in any court of law. Show me one. Show me any. So yapping in the internet to hide, to disparage because somebody has paid you to soil the name of others is your right. But you know what? You can't do that for long because people don't just sit back too and will not elaborate. People must understand that they must carry the weight of their words and their actions. Much as I might not focus much on that because the government knows what we're doing. Any rightful thinking Kenyan that wants to provide service in the education sector, put up a building as big as this of mine. By that, go to government, make your proposal, government will license your program. We are licensed by government. For those who do international programs and overseas studies, we are duly licensed by Commission for University Education for that. In fact, they just did another review, including NIS, they came here, following what happened in Eldoret. We were still approved. These are facts you don't know. They like yapping with negatives. Check your facts well. Don't take the time yapping in the internet and calling yourself anonymous. If you want to be anonymous, I'm not part of anonymous. Me, I'm here.
Okay.
And anybody with an issue, don't call yourself anonymous. Give us your number, who you are, what is your issue. Let it be open. Don't hide.
Okay.
Don't tell me nonsense of I don't know what at this room among right now. We don't need that.
Professor Humphrey Bora, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You've covered a lot of ground. I hope that answers a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Put it out there, let the world see.
Thank you.
We'll see the response.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much.
God bless. Thank you. Thank you.
Off we go.